In the midst of a transformative Lunar New Year reception, Chinese President Xi Jinping delivered a stark message underscoring the economic challenges facing the nation as it embarks on the Year of the Snake. His remarks made amid growing concerns over economic stagnation and deflation signal a pivotal moment for China as it grapples with both internal pressures and external geopolitical risks, particularly following Donald Trump's return to the White House. The backdrop of Xi's speech highlighted the complexities of a shifting political landscape, raising questions about the future direction of the Chinese economy and its leadership. Xi emphasized the necessity for resilience in the face of economic risks, characterizing China as a key engine of global economic growth. He acknowledged the looming challenges and called for a robust commitment to reforms, stating, "We need to strengthen our conviction and confidence, confront problems and obstacles directly, and tackle risks and challenges without hesitation." This rhetoric reflects a growing awareness within the Chinese leadership of the precarious economic environment, which has seen consumer prices decline for 6 consecutive quarters, plunging the country into a deflationary cycle. China's economic malaise is underscored by grim statistics. Approximately 65% of the population now lives below the middle-income threshold, with many citizens struggling under the weight of stagnant wages and rising costs. Xi's administration has been criticized for failing to stimulate consumer spending despite aggressive attempts at monetary easing and fiscal stimulus. As noted by Junhua Zhang, an economist, despite the government's efforts, consumer willingness to spend has diminished, leading to a vicious cycle of reduced demand and rising unemployment. Furthermore, the re-emergence of Donald Trump as a pivotal figure in U.S. politics adds another layer of complexity to China's economic outlook. Trump's proposed tariffs and potential revocation of China's permanent normal trade relations status could significantly hinder Chinese exports, which Xi has been counting on to revitalize the economy. Analysts predict that such moves could lead to a 0.6% decline in China's GDP in 2025, exacerbating the already fragile economic situation. Amid these economic challenges, political currents within China are also shifting. Observers have noted signs of waning authority for Xi Jinping, who has faced mounting pressure from various factions within the Communist Party. Scholars suggest that Xi's recent decision to send Vice President Han Zhang to represent China at Trump's inauguration may reflect underlying vulnerabilities in his leadership. Dr. Willy Wolaplam, a noted China expert, argues that Xi is encountering opposition from both retired officials and rival factions that are increasingly vocal about their dissatisfaction with his handling of economic policies and foreign relations. As Xi strives to navigate these tumultuous waters, he is committed to enhancing support for middle and low-income groups, promising reforms aimed at raising living standards and addressing the deepening inequalities exacerbated by the economic downturn. However, skepticism remains about the effectiveness of these reforms. The emphasis on manufacturing and high-tech industries over direct income support for citizens has drawn criticism. Economic analyst Fu Peng states, due to the depth of the problem, it has been difficult for the government to reverse the rapid shrinkage of the middle class through measures to stimulate the economy by adding leverage. Looking ahead, the path for Xi in China appears fraught with challenges. The delicate balance between maintaining political authority and addressing the pressing economic needs of the populace will be crucial as the nation navigates both domestic and international pressures. The likelihood of sustained deflation looms large, with predictions suggesting that the economic landscape may not stabilize for at least another 2 years. As Xi continues to assert his vision for China's role on the global stage, his ability to adapt to the evolving domestic and international landscape will determine not only his political future but also the broader economic trajectory of the nation. The unfolding narrative suggests that the coming months will be critical as China aims to regain its footing amid an increasingly complex geopolitical environment. In a significant Lunar New Year address, Chinese President Xi Jinping underscored the urgent need for China to navigate economic challenges and external pressures, particularly in light of Donald Trump's recent return to the White House. Speaking at a reception in Beijing, Xi remarked China remains a key engine of global economic growth, while acknowledging the looming challenges that lie ahead. His comments reflect a broader concern within the Communist Party about the potential instability that could arise from Trump's administration, which many analysts believe could alter the geopolitical landscape. Xi's call for resilience comes at a time when China's economy is grappling with a sluggish growth rate, high unemployment, and increasing competition. He emphasized the necessity for the country to strengthen our conviction and confidence, confront problems and obstacles directly, and tackle risks and challenges without hesitation. This highlights not only the internal pressures the Chinese government faces but also the external factors that could exacerbate this situation. During his speech, Xi outlined a roadmap for high-quality development, stressing the importance of deepening reforms and expanding China's global economic engagement. He stated, "We will press ahead with deepening reforms, expand high-level opening up, guard against and defuse risks in key areas and external shocks." This indicates a strategic shift towards enhancing China's economic resilience and adaptability in an increasingly volatile international environment. As Xi navigates these challenges, he may also be dealing with significant political pressures at home. Analysts suggest that Xi's leadership is facing scrutiny from various factions within the Communist Party, including former leaders who have publicly criticized his handling of economic policies and foreign relations, particularly since the third plenary session of the 20th Central Committee last July. Dr. Willy Wolaplam, a prominent China scholar, notes that Xi's authority appears to be waning as he finds himself increasingly receptive to dissent from within the party. The political landscape is further complicated by Xi's recent decision to send Vice President Han Zheng to Trump's inauguration, which many view as a sign of weakness. This departure from traditional protocol underscores a potential shift in China's diplomatic posture as it prepares to engage with a new U.S. administration. Xi's willingness to negotiate with Trump, particularly concerning the contentious Taiwan issue, suggests a strategic calculation aimed at mitigating risks while maintaining China's influence on the global stage. Xi's approach to the Taiwan issue is particularly telling. His administration is reportedly focusing on pressuring the U.S. to publicly oppose Taiwan independence while simultaneously seeking to strengthen ties with nations in the global south. This reflects a broader intent to isolate the U.S. diplomatically and reshape the international order in favor of Chinese interests. As tensions mount and the stakes rise, Xi's leadership will be put to the test. Should he successfully manage these internal and external pressures, it could solidify his position within the party and his legacy as a leader. However, if these challenges prove overwhelming, they could lead to a re-evaluation of his policies and leadership style. Looking ahead, the coming months will be pivotal. With the U.S. under Trump's administration poised to confront China on various fronts, including trade and military presence in the Indo-Pacific, the dynamics of U.S.-China relations will be crucial in shaping not only regional stability but also global economic trends. How Xi navigates this landscape could determine the future trajectory of both China and its relationship with the world. As the year of the snake unfolds, all eyes will be on Beijing and Washington to see how they reconcile their interests in an increasingly interconnected and contentious global environment. As the Lunar New Year approaches, Chinese President Xi Jinping has taken a moment to address the pressing economic challenges facing China, particularly in light of the recent return of Donald Trump to the White House. In a speech delivered during a reception in Beijing, Xi underscored the need for a robust response to economic risks and external shocks, affirming China's role as a critical engine of global growth. He emphasized the importance of perseverance and resilience in overcoming obstacles, stating, "We must strengthen our conviction and confidence, confront problems and obstacles directly, and tackle risks and challenges without hesitation." Xi's remarks come at a time when China is grappling with a deflationary cycle that has persisted for 6 consecutive quarters, signaling weak consumer demand and highlighting stark economic disparities. Recent data reveal that approximately 65% of the population lives below the middle-income threshold, raising alarm about the sustainability of China's growth trajectory. Despite government assertions of having eradicated poverty, economists have criticized these claims as overly optimistic. The Lunar New Year festivities, which commence on January 28, serve as a backdrop for Xi's call to action. He reiterated the government's commitment to deepening reforms and enhancing the nation's economic stability. We will push ahead with deepening reforms, expand high-level opening up and guard against and defuse risks in key areas, he asserted, aiming for sustained economic recovery while maintaining social harmony. However, the optimism expressed by Xi is tempered by a slew of economic indicators suggesting that recovery remains uneven. The official Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index (PMI) recently fell to 49.1, the lowest level since August, indicating that factory activity has unexpectedly slowed. Similarly, the non-manufacturing PMI for services dropped to 50.2, just above the threshold separating growth from contraction. Analysts have noted that this decline could be attributed to both the upcoming Spring Festival holiday and a broader weakening of domestic demand. The economic landscape is further complicated by potential external pressures, particularly with Trump's proposed tariffs on Chinese imports looming over the horizon. His administration's plans to increase import levies could significantly affect China's export-driven economy, which represented nearly a third of its growth last year. A simulation by the Institute for International Economics suggests that revoking China's permanent normal trade relations status could lead to a 0.6% decline in China's GDP by 2025. Despite these challenges, Xi remains hopeful, asserting that the Chinese people's hard work and resilience can overcome the difficulties they face. We have proven that with hard work and struggle, no difficulties or obstacles can stop the Chinese people from pursuing a better life, he proclaimed. However, experts warn that without robust measures to stimulate domestic consumption, the recovery may falter, citing the ongoing real estate crisis and high youth unemployment. Economists emphasize the need for targeted policies that not only stimulate growth but also address the fundamental financial struggles of the population. As the Year of the Snake begins, many citizens express cautious optimism about the government's economic policies, hopeful that they will translate into tangible improvements in trade and employment. Yet underlying economic conditions suggest a more complex reality, with deflationary pressures and income inequality posing significant barriers to recovery. In conclusion, while Xi Jinping's speech reflects a bullish stance on China's economic future, the path forward is fraught with challenges. The interplay of domestic policies and external factors will be crucial in determining whether China can navigate through its current economic turbulence and emerge stronger. As the government gears up for the new year, the emphasis on reform and resilience will be tested against the backdrop of a changing global economic landscape. Setting the stage for potential shifts in both policy and public sentiment in the months to come. As the Lunar New Year approaches, a sense of urgency has enveloped the Chinese military, with top officials calling for heightened war readiness amid a backdrop of escalating tensions in the Indo-Pacific region. This call to action comes directly from the upper echelons of the People's Liberation Army (PLA), led by General Zhang Youxia and General He Weidong, prominent vice-chairman of the Central Military Commission (CMC). Their recent visits to military units underscore the dual aims of reinforcing combat capabilities and combating corruption within the ranks. During these inspections, which have become a customary gesture of solidarity and encouragement ahead of the Spring Festival, General Zhang emphasized the need for a rigorous political rectification within the military. We should strengthen discipline, enforce rules, further solidifying the political character of following the Communist Party's command and loyalty to the party, he stated, highlighting the intertwined nature of military readiness and political allegiance. President Xi Jinping, who chairs the CMC, has also been proactive in addressing the troops as part of this initiative, using the occasion to reaffirm the military's role in ensuring national security and social stability. His recent inspection of the PLA's Northern Theater Command in Shenyang illustrates the leadership's commitment to maintaining a strong military posture as geopolitical challenges mount. The urgency in command is not merely ceremonial. It is rooted in a broader context of China's military expansion and strategic positioning. A Pentagon report has recently raised alarms, with experts asserting that China is undergoing the largest military buildup since Nazi Germany in the 1930s.
Chuck DeVore, a retired Army lieutenant colonel, noted. China is engaging in an unprecedented military buildup that the world frankly hasn't seen since Adolf Hitler in the 1930s.
He underscored the significance of this development, particularly as the Chinese military modernizes its arsenal, expanding its nuclear capabilities and naval strength. Recent assessments predict that China's nuclear arsenal could exceed 1,000 warheads by 2030, while simultaneously enhancing its naval fleet to outnumber the U.S. Navy. The Department of Defense's findings reveal that China possesses the world's most extensive hypersonic missile arsenal, capable of evading American defenses and posing a direct threat to U.S. territories in the Pacific. Amid these military advancements, the Chinese leadership is also navigating a complex political landscape. Xi Jinping faces rising internal pressures, with critics emerging from various factions within the Communist Party. The challenges he encounters stem from economic difficulties and a growing discontent among the populace, which has been reflected in a surge of interest in spiritualism and superstition as a means of coping with societal pressures. Political analysts suggest that Xi's authority is being tested, with retired party officials and military leaders expressing dissatisfaction with his governance. Dr. Willy Walaplam, an expert on Chinese politics, points out that Xi is now more receptive to dissenting voices, indicating a possible shift in the internal dynamics of the party. In a strategic maneuver, Xi is reportedly preparing to leverage the return of Donald Trump to the U.S. presidency as an opportunity to reshape international alliances, particularly concerning Taiwan. Sources within the CCP suggest that Xi's policy aims to isolate the U.S. while strengthening ties with nations in the global south. The Taiwan issue, seen as critical to Xi's legacy, remains a focal point in negotiations, with the Chinese leadership poised to pressure the U.S. into acknowledging its stance on Taiwan's independence. As the Lunar New Year festivities begin, the implications of these military and political developments are profound. The Chinese military's calls for readiness signal a period of heightened vigilance, while Xi's strategies reflect a calculated approach to navigate the complexities of both domestic dissent and international relations. The coming months will be pivotal not only for China but for the broader geopolitical landscape, as tensions in the Indo-Pacific remain at a boiling point. The world watches closely to see how these dynamics will evolve, particularly as the U.S. reassesses its own strategies in response to China's assertive posture. In a significant diplomatic meeting, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has urged for enhanced cooperation between China and India to bolster their bilateral ties. This call to action comes as Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri visits Beijing, marking an opportunity for both nations to navigate their complex relationship, which has been historically fraught with tensions but is showing signs of improvement. During their discussions on January 27, 2025, Wang emphasized the need for both countries to seize the moment to advance mutual understanding and support. China and India should grasp this opportunity to advance together, discuss and initiate more substantial measures focused on fostering mutual understanding, support and achievement, he stated, reflecting a commitment to overcoming past grievances and building a more collaborative future. The backdrop to this diplomatic encounter is the evolving landscape of China-India relations, which have seen a notable shift since a high-profile meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Kazan, Russia last October. That meeting set the stage for renewed engagement, with both sides actively working to resolve differences and enhance cooperation across various sectors. Misri remarked on the progress made, noting that the two nations have effectively managed their disputes and revived practical cooperation, signaling a cautious optimism about the trajectory of their interactions. The history of China-India relations has been tumultuous, particularly marked by the deadly clashes in the Galwan Valley in mid-2020, which resulted in the deaths of several soldiers from both sides. In the aftermath, India imposed restrictions on Chinese investments, banned numerous Chinese apps and suspended direct flights. Although trade and cargo flights persisted, the relationship remained strained. The recent dialogues, however, indicate a potential thaw in relations, with both countries expressing a desire to prioritize mutual interests over suspicion and estrangement.
Experts suggest that the current diplomatic efforts are aligned with broader strategic interests.
Chen Feng, director of the research department at the National Strategy Institute at Tsinghua University, noted the importance of these discussions, stating, "We can clearly see that China and India are advancing bilateral relations in an orderly and progressive manner." This sentiment is echoed by Misri, who highlighted India's readiness to celebrate the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations with China, as well as India's support for China's upcoming chairmanship of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. As the dialogue continues, the agenda includes pressing issues such as the resumption of direct flights visa issuance for businesspersons and journalists, and the resolution of trade disputes. Both parties recognize that strengthening their partnership is vital not only for their own national interests but also for the stability and prosperity of the broader region. Looking ahead, the diplomatic engagements between China and India appear poised to foster a more constructive relationship. This trajectory suggests that both nations, recognizing their shared history and intertwined futures, may navigate their complexities with a renewed commitment to dialogue and cooperation. As developments unfold, the world will be watching closely to see whether these diplomatic overtures can translate into lasting peace and collaboration between two of Asia's most influential powers.